everybody, welcome to Stamping with Melva. My name's Melva Peters and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from British Columbia, Canada. And I am so excited to be here with you on World Card Making Day. It's so much fun to be able to share projects on World Card Making Day because we really want to inspire you through our projects. So for those of you that follow me or know me, I live on the west coast of Canada, and most of you that follow me or know me may know that I have been a sailor in my past life. So when I saw the Let's Set Sail bundle, I knew that this had to be part of my stash. My husband and I had a sailboat here on Vancouver Island for, well, guess for a few years, but we were on the mainland of British Columbia. So we sailed the Gulf Islands for about 14 years. And so a couple of years we sold our sailboat, but having this Let's Set Sail bundle actually reminds me of our boat. So I thought I'd share that with you as part of World Card Making Day. And what I'm going to share is a bendy card. So you may have seen these, you may have made them, but when you see them, you might think they're more complicated than they are. And there are some pieces to them, but they really aren't complicated. And they are one of those wow cards when people get them, because they'll kind of wonder how you did that. All right, I'm going to switch over to my desktop and we'll get started. All right, so here's my bendy card. So like I said, I've used the Let's Set Sail bundle in Pacific Point, Balmy Blue, and then you know, I've got a little yellow for the sun. I think I've used So Saffron, and then I've used a palm tree from the Paradise Palm dies. The sentiment is also from Paradise Palm, and then a couple of sailboats. So let me show you how I made the card. So first of all, this is the Let's Set Sail bundle. It is a punch bundle. We don't have a lot of punch bundles in the catalog, but we do have some. So I love punch bundles. So these images are at 90% of their real size. So they are bigger than what they appear on the front cover. So you have the stamps to stamp the sailboat, a reflection, some great sentiments, some birds, and then this could be water. I'm going to show you another way to make waves using the basic border dies. All right, so it is a photopolymer stamp set, which is great because you can actually see much better than if you're using rubber stamps. Okay, now let's bring in supplies. So these are kind of the main supplies, and I will give you the measurements as I go because there are quite a few pieces here. So let me just pull these out. Okay, so this is kind of the main card base. So you need it's basically a quarter sheet of cardstock, and this is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and it is scored at 2 3/4. I've already gone ahead and scored this at 2 3/4. And then you need 2 pieces of Balmy Blue, and these are cut 2 5/8 by 4 1/8. And then you need 2 pieces of basic white that are, these are 2 1/2 by 4. So that's kind of your main card base. Then you've got this middle piece here that is, where's my card? So it's this middle piece that bends out. You can see how this kind of sits when you send it out. So this pops forward. So this piece is cut 2 inches by 4 3/4. And I'm just going to grab my paper trimmer that got buried under things. Here we go. And we're going to score this piece at 1/2 inch. 1/2 inch, 2 3/8, and 4 1/4. And I'll show you how to put that together shortly. Okay, so then for this, you need 2 pieces of Balmy Blue that are cut 1 3/4 by 1 7/8. So that's going to go. Here's your card base. This is now going to go here. And then for the bottom piece, this is the piece that our sailboats are going to go on. This is Pacific Point is 1 1/4 by 6 1/2. And we're going to score this at 1/2 inch and at 6 inches. And then the last piece you need for your main card base is balmy blue that is 1 inch by 5 1/4, and that's going to fit on there. Okay, we're going to start by doing some stamping. So we're going to pull our basic white pieces. Oh, and I've cut out of basic black the palm tree from using the Paradise Palms or the palm dies. A piece in there. There we go. Okay, so let's start by doing some stamping on our basic white pieces. These are the kind of the background pieces. And I'm going to use So Saffron. And this is the sun from, where's my Paradise Palms? So this is the Paradise Palms stamp set bundle, comes with the palm dies. I'm using the sun from this. I'm actually using also the happy birthday sentiment from this. So I'm just going to stamp a sun kind of right there. It's always nice to sail on a sunny day. And then I've got Smoky Slate, and these are the little birds from the Let's Set Sail. So we're just going to stamp some of these seagulls from the Let's Set Sail. And I'm going to stamp over onto this piece as well. So we've got our seagulls. Now, these pieces can now be, we can start putting our card base together. So I'm using liquid, the multi-purpose liquid glue. You can use whatever your favorite adhesive is. I like the fact that this gives me a little bit of wiggle room as I'm trying to adjust where this piece will fit on my card. Now, saying that, because there is some wiggle room and it allows you to kind of adjust, I tend to keep my finger on one part of it to hold it in place. Otherwise, it can slip on you because it still gives you that ability to move it around. So kind of get it in place and then hold it with one finger until you kind of got it, and then rub over it. And then these pieces can go on either side of the score line. And you really are just getting a little peekaboo of the Pacific Point and a little peekaboo of the balmy blue. And then that's kind of your card base put together. Okay. Now, the next thing, put my lid on my glue. And sometimes if you don't put your lid back on your glue, you'll kind of get it clogged, and then it's a little hard to get the glue out. Okay, so the next two pieces that we want to work with, we want to add some waves onto our balmy blue pieces, and we're going to do waves on both of these two pieces that go in the middle section, and this piece that fits along the band. Now, here's a tip. Let me bring in, these are the basic border dies. These are amazing dies. So you get all sorts of different borders. Zigzag, more of a, I don't know what you call this kind of point. A little more ornate than the others. This one is like clouds. This is kind of an envelope flap, and then a square scalloped envelope flap, and then the rounded one. I'm using this one, and what I've done is I went ahead, and you can see I was well used. I went ahead and just took a piece of basic white cardstock, and I cut this using this cloud. Now, if you used it looking like this, it would look like clouds, but if you turn it upside down, we can actually make this look like waves. Now, I did not think of this. I saw this, I think it was Melissa Stout where I saw it. I'm not sure if she got it from someone, but take your blending brush. I'm using Balmy Blue and Pacific Point. So cut your template that looks like clouds, turn it upside down, and then we're just going to take and use it with your blending brush. I'm starting with the the balmy blue, and it kind of looks like waves. So you can kind of, if you can see this, it kind of looks like waves. So we're just going to keep going and I'm just kind of turning it a little bit. I'm going to just turn this so I want to hang on to the balmy blue as well as the mask. And then the last, I'm going to add a little bit of Pacific Point, just to give it a little bit of, you know, depth of color. I don't want a ton of Pacific Point, otherwise it looks like more of a storm than a kind of a nice day. Okay, so there's my waves that I've got on this piece, and I want to do the same on these two pieces. Now let's make sure I have these going the right way. Yes, that way. Okay. They are just slightly longer than they are across. So you want to make sure you've got your waves going the right way. So I'm just going to lay these two like this. And again, with balmy blue, just trying to hold this in place. We're just going to add some waves to these pieces. And they don't have to both be the same. And then let's just add a little bit of Pacific Point to them. You're not going to see all of these, so don't worry about doing the whole thing because you really are only seeing about an inch or so of this piece. Okay. So we've got our waves. So these two pieces can now be adhered to our middle piece that we've scored. Okay, maybe like that. Making sure I get my waves going the right way. Okay, there we go. Now let's bring in our card base. So this can now, bring your bone folder. You do need your bone folder for this. So take your bone folder and fold back on the two outside flaps, because this is what we're going to use to adhere this to the card base. And I like to use tear and tape adhesive on these flaps, just because the bendy fold will get, you know, some movement as people open and close it. The cool thing about this one, it actually folds flat to go in your envelope. Now, when I adhered this, I adhered it about a ½ inch or so from the bottom. So not right at the bottom, but about ½ inch. We don't want to cover our sun and our birds, but we don't want it right to the bottom either. So just take the backing off of the tear and tape, fold these to the back, and this, the center, the score line on this, because this is scored in half, needs to match up with the score line of your card base. And then you can just take and adhere it flat. So there we go. We've got our first bendy bit. All right, let's get this on. So we're going to do the same. This piece I scored at ½ inch from both ends. Again, give it a good burnish with your bone folder. This piece we're going to adhere on. I'm always fascinated watching videos and how people apply their liquid glue. I don't know, I tend to go kind of in a waves. Other people go all around the outside. I just find it fascinating. What do you do if you use liquid glue? All right, there we go. Oh, gosh, I think my sister's texting me. It's coming through on my phone. Sorry about that. All right. Okay, so we've got our tear and tape adhesive. Now this piece is the same width as our card base. So we are just going to fold those two flaps back and adhere this so that it is lined up with this left edge and the bottom, and then lined up with this right edge and the bottom, like that. So when this folds out, this will actually be curved as opposed to scored in the middle. And we now have basically our card base. So now we can start decorating. And probably what I should have done, which I didn't do, and now I've lost. Put that back on. I've lost my palm tree. Oh, here it is. I should have put this on before, but I didn't. But I think I can still do it. So I'm just going to take a little bit of the liquid glue. If you've got the silicone, not silicone, the adhesive sheets, you can use those. So put a piece of adhesive sheet on behind your basic black before you cut your palm tree out. Otherwise, I'm using liquid glue, and I always use my silicone mat so I don't get my liquid glue all over the place. So I'm just going to take and adhere this down, and then I will trim this excess off like that and like that. So that should have probably gone on first, but that's okay. It fits right there. So we've got our palm tree. So now what we want to do is we want to stamp our punch. Now, if you're like me, when you've got these punches, there's I don't know, there's one sail is the right way, one's upside down. And so how do you know where to stamp this so that I can just take this and punch it out? Well, here's what you do. You take and you use a scrap piece of paper and you put it into your punch and what should I do? Punch out a template. So that's what I've done. I've just put this piece of cardstock in and punched out my template. So now I can use this as a template so that I know exactly where to stamp. Now, if you want, I'm going to actually use a little piece of Post-it note tape. You could use washi tape or Post-it note just to hold this in place so it doesn't shift as I do my stamping. So we're going to do 2 sailboats. We're going to do one that is in balmy blue, and then one that is in I got this, I think, going the wrong way. Yes, I do. What am I doing here? Make sure you get it going the right way. Yes, okay, so let's go. This goes this way. There we go. Okay, so we're going to do one in balmy blue. The sails are balmy blue. So now you can just stamp right in the center of that cut out opening. And now it's going to be perfect for when we need to punch this out. So just a little tip about using a template with these punch dies or punch bundles. Okay, and I'm using for my body of my boat and my mast, I am using crumb cake. There we go. So now we've got this one. Oh, that didn't work. Let's try that again. I missed the opening. Oh, and I missed it again. Goodness sakes. Can't quite see. There we go. Oh, we're going to have a very dark boat. There. Oh. Okay, let's try this again. Okay, we're going to put this here and start again. Let's try this first and see if we can actually hit the opening. It is actually very easy, but I'm, for some reason, just kind of missing it slightly. There we go. There we've got the mast and the main body of the boat. And now let's take and restamp the sail. For some reason those sails go in and stamp easy, but the mast is quite a little narrow hole. So just watch what you're doing. All right, so we've got our sailboat, and now we can take and just put it right in like that. and stamp when we get our sailboat pieces. So we've got one, and we're going to do another one. I've got another piece here, so let's take and put this one, because we're going to do this one in Pacific Point. So we've got that. Let's see if I can get this the sailboat and mast lined up properly. There we go. That one worked. Third time's a charm. All right, and now we've got, this is the foresail in Pacific Point, and then the mainsail in Pacific Point. Our sailboat had white sails with blue on them. Our body of our boat was actually blue and not crumb cake, but this is close enough. I just need to trim this just slightly so I can get my punch in like that. There we go. Okay, and the other thing that I want to do before I put my Pacific Point away is, this is the happy birthday sentiment from the Paradise Palms. So I'm just going to, let's do that better. Let's stamp that. There we go. And now I'm going to fussy cut this out. If you follow me, you know that I often fussy cut my sentiments, but you can use a punch or you can use a die. In this case, I'm just cutting straight lines, and I actually don't matter if it's not perfectly straight. But if that bothers you, you can use a punch and punch out your sentiment, or use dies. Okay, so now we're going to put our sailboats on, and I'm going to again use just a little bit of liquid glue. Now, these sailboats are going to be just popped up slightly. So I'm going to put this one a little bit lower, and just a little bit of liquid glue. And then this one will be just a little bit higher. You can put them at the same height if you want, but they're kind of in a race. There we go. And then this sail is the main. It goes at the back. So we're just going to put liquid glue at the bottom, because you don't have anything to adhere it to at the top. And I try to make it touching, because they have to touch to stay on the boat. And again, just a little bit of liquid glue at the bottom, so that the foresail is adhered. So easy to make these sailboats. So this, again, you don't have a lot of room here because I've got this sailboat quite close to the top. So just be, depending on what you do, just be a little gentle with how much glue you put on, because really I don't have a lot of room to adhere it. But there is my second sailboat, getting to look like quite a pretty scene. And then the last thing I want to do is put my happy birthday sentiment on, and I'm going to use dimensionals. If I can find some dimensionals. There they are. So just a couple of dimensionals for this, and this is going to go on, let's see, this is going to go on this piece right here, like that. There we go. So there is our bendy card. Kind of like a diorama actually as well. Now I'm going to use some of these. These are these solid faceted gems, and they come in, let's see, I think it's Blushing Bride, Melon Mambo, Pool Party, Evening Evergreen, and Bobby Blue. So it works perfectly for this. So we're just going to take and put a couple of these, or 3. I always do odd numbers. I don't know what you do, but I always do odd numbers of my embellishments. And so we'll do 3, and we'll just put 1 there. Okay. Now, if you want to, I'm not going to, but if you want to, you could actually take and put a piece of basic white on the back. And this would be 4 inches by 5 1/4 if you wanted to do that. And that would give you room to stamp a sentiment. I'm actually not going to do that on my card today, but if you wanted to write a sentiment, you could absolutely put that on the back. So there you go. There is a Bendy card featuring the Let's Set Sail bundle that is in the annual catalog. All right. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you give it a try. They really aren't that hard. I've made them in a few things, a few different bundles. So this one definitely lends itself to a Bendy card. I have also made a Bendy card using the Waves of Inspiration and the Waves dies. It looks really cool with that as well. So I hope you give it a try. I hope you enjoy the rest of World Card Making Day, and we'll catch up soon. Thanks for joining me. Happy stamping. Bye.